guys, welcome to another episode of Ask Alex, where this is the show where I take all your questions that you have submitted to me and answer them here on this show. If you want a question on this show, it's very simple. All you have to do is just send me an email at static145910@gmail.com. You can also comment under any of my Instagram posts, or you can easily just tweet me at Mr. Alex Hampton, and my Instagram is also Mr. Alex Hampton as well. Lately, I have been doing a lot of interviews on this particular show, where recently I just interviewed Robert Meyer Burnett. You can check that in my link in the description to see that interview. But I will continue to do interviews on this particular show, Ask Alex, and I will also continue going back into answering questions that are going on in Hollywood and just different media things today. So I don't want to let you guys know I will still continue doing that. And let's just jump into the first question of the day. So I got this question from a Mr. Brandon Foster, and he writes, "Hey Alex, I love your show. I was wondering, what are your thoughts about the comments that Jordan Peele made about not casting white people in lead roles? Do you think that his comments are racist?" Well, okay. Thank you for your question, Mr. Brandon Foster. So recently, what Brandon's referring to, about a few days ago, maybe about a week ago, Jordan Peele is being interviewed about, doing his own films, and in a sense, he said that he didn't want to quote a white person in his films as the lead because he's seen that movie before. In a sense, he wants to give those lead roles to black people and minorities as well, to provide an opportunity for them. Now, those are essentially what he said in his comments in regards to this particular situation. Now, do I think his comments are racist? No, not at all. Actually, I've seen some things float around. I've seen some other people mention what he has said on different shows on YouTube, and also just different things in the media. And no, I don't think his comments are racist. What you have to understand is, Brandon, that black people and other minorities as well have been on the short end of the stick in terms of getting these particular roles in Hollywood. You have to understand that when movies like Black Panther or Coming to America, or even the stuff that Tyler Perry is doing, you have to understand that those movies are very few and very short. Okay, we probably won't see another movie like Black Panther, the way Black Panther shocked this world. We probably won't see that until Black Panther 2. We recently just had Crazy Rich Asians, which was an amazing film that had a strong representation of the Asian community. And personally, we don't have enough of those films here in America. We don't. That's just being 100% honest. And, I don't believe his comments were racist, because when you look at every white executive that works in different sectors of Hollywood, they may not say it publicly that they're going to put their own people, which is white people, into those roles, but they indirectly say it and they do it. You look at from the beginning of Hollywood up until now in 2019, there are more people right now who are white who have more lead roles and more opportunities than black people, and other minorities as well. So do I think his comments are racist? Absolutely not. Do I think that he could have phrased it a different way? Honestly, no. I think he was basically telling the truth and calling it for what it is. Again, we as minorities don't get the opportunities to do the roles that most white people do. We don't. If you look at his two recent films, Get Out and Us, granted, there are black leads in that role, there's still white people in those movies. So he's not saying he's excluding white people. He's not saying that at all. He's saying that for his movies, he wants to cast a black lead or a minority lead in that role. We've seen white people take the lead in most roles. And this is nothing against white people at all, but you have to understand that, America is changing. The industry is changing. We want to see more representation of us. And granted, now that we have somewhat of a footing, I'm willing to take the comments that he's saying. So, I guess a lot of the reason why a lot of people are getting so up in arms about it is because, white people have never really heard someone say to them, well, I'm not going to cast you in the role because of, not necessarily because of the color of your skin, but the fact that most people who are the same color as you have those lead roles. And I'm going to do something different for my community. Most people who are white don't know how to take that in. But for years as minorities, we've been hearing that since the beginning of this whole Hollywood thing and just the beginning of time, if we're being 100% honest. So no, I don't think his comments are racist, and I actually stand with Jordan Peele. So, but thank you for your question, Mr. Foster. Now we're going to get into our second question of the day. This comes from a Mr. Devon Gaines, and he writes, "Hey Alex, what do you think about more filmmakers going to streaming service to get their films made instead of going to an actual movie studio?" Well, thank you for your question, Devon. So, two things here. You have to understand that most streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and even Amazon, especially Amazon, what they're doing now, they are branching out their platforms for independent filmmakers and actors to show their content. What you have to understand is that those particular services are more willing to accept new filmmakers and new talent to put some of their stuff out on their networks. Now, most studios, and it's the same thing for streaming services as well, but most studios, it's about money. Personally speaking, I just had this conversation with a couple of my friends of mine. If I make a movie for $10 million and I want to put it out in theaters, I have to be very cognizant that I may not make that $10 million back because of the fact the marketing might fall through. May not want to see my movie, and if I don't have a major studio backing me, I may not make break even for the money that I spent putting out a studio film for a major studio. So you have to keep that in consideration when you are putting out a major film in major studios. When you sell your film to Netflix or Hulu, they're going to pay you for that movie. Now, they may not pay you what you spent on it, but they will definitely pay you, and they'll probably set up there's a clause in a contract where you might get a back end. So ultimately, you can make your money at Netflix. Netflix, in a sense, and in any other streaming service, in a sense, is somewhat like a cash cow. You can make your projects and get the marketing dollars for what you need and the dollars you need to make your film at a streaming service. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easier there, but it does mean, however, there is somewhat of a return of your investment if you do sell it to a streaming service. The kicker, though, for the streaming service, though, is that Netflix will own your content. So what that means is that it's when they say it's a Netflix original, it's a Netflix original. It's not yours. You may be writing it, producing, directing it, but it's ultimately Netflix owns the rights. They own them. Even if you created it, they own them. So you have to keep that in mind when you do go to different streaming services. Now, I've also said that if you were to make a movie for $50,000, right, and then you put it out in theaters, and that $50,000 you spent is for marketing and all that other good stuff of making the film, there's a good chance you're going to make your money back. Really good chance, because 90% of the time, when people don't have anything to do, they look at other movies that they are interested in. So, for the most part, the lower your budget is to spend, your lower your budget is that you have for a movie, there's a chance that you may make your money back. There's also a chance that you may not make your money back. I do know that for streaming services, it's somewhat of a sure thing, to a degree, not always. But, that's why most filmmakers go to streaming services to do their films. So thank you for your question, Devon, and I really do appreciate it. Now I'm going to go to our next question, which comes from a Calvin King. And he writes, "Hey Alex, so recently Chris Tucker, and Jackie Chan posted a picture of them together holding up the number 4 sign. Is this confirmation that Rush Hour 4 is coming soon? Thanks for taking my question. Okay, Calvin. Thank you for your question. So what Calvin's referring to is yesterday on Sunday, it was Jackie Chan's birthday. And most people who've ever worked with Jackie Chan or friends with Jackie Chan just posted pictures of Jackie congratulating him and sending him birthday wishes. There's this one picture that Chris Tucker posted of Jackie Chan, which I'll put on the screen, that Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker are holding up the 4 sign like this, which insinuates that is a Rush Hour 4 coming. Now, I've been on record. I do this show with Malcolm Banks, who's the head of Fandoms Anonymous. I recently was on an episode of Fandom Talk where I said I think that a Rush Hour 4 movie would be brilliant, only because, you know, Bad Boys 3 is coming out, and I'm excited to see Bad Boys 3. I love the combination between Will Smith and Martin, and I love the combination between Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. Rush Hour 3 was not necessarily the best movie, but it had its moments where it was good. Rush Hour 1 and 2, in my opinion, are classics. So, to answer your question, I think that is it going to happen? There hasn't been a major studio to announce it, so we have to pump the brakes on there. That a major studio hasn't come out and confirmed this rumor. These are actors who don't really control the studios. So you have to keep that in mind, number one. Number two, would I love to see this movie? Absolutely. I'm a huge Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan fan. I think this would be amazing for nostalgia reasons, and I would love to see what they're going to do in this iteration of Rush Hour 4. Now keep in mind, Rush Hour 4 is not confirmed by any studio. No, we don't know if it's coming out or not. They just did this for Jackie Chan's birthday. So it's not been confirmed. We don't know if it is coming out, and if it is coming out, I am excited, but I don't think that we will see a Rush Hour 4 anytime soon unless a director announces that he's working on that particular project with a studio attached to it. So that's my take on Rush Hour 4, and we come to the final question coming from a Mr. Keith Cooper, and he writes, "Hey Alex, do you think we will ever see more diverse comic book movies win an Oscar or get nominated?" Well, thank you for your question, Keith. I'm gonna keep this real quick. I think once we establish more opportunities for different diverse comic book characters to be brought into the daylight for movies, then we can have that conversation of will we get nominated for certain things or win Oscars. Personally, I think that Black Panther should have won that Oscar. I do think that rightfully so that Miles Morales movie, the Spider-Verse movie, won an Oscar, and it should have won, and it did. But you know, once we get more of those movies coming out in the near future, which hopefully we will, I would hope that we would get more consideration and more wins, because Black Panther, story-wise, is an immaculate film from top to bottom. Are there problems with it? Yes. But for the most part, I believe that everything that was going against it, I don't think it had any credence of beating it at all. So I'm glad that it was nominated. I'm glad that the Miles Morales movie was nominated and it did win. But at the end of the day, I do think that once we have more of those films coming up the next coming years, I hope we will see more nominations and more wins. Thank you for your question, Mr. Cooper. And that is my show for today. If you want to be on this show, if you want to comment on this show, just leave a comment under my this video, and you can also tweet me at my Twitter at Mr. Alex Hampton, or you can leave a comment under my Instagram at Mr. Alex Hampton. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. I thank you guys so much for watching this video, and you guys have a blessed day. Thank you guys for watching this video. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube page to get more exclusive content coming from my YouTube channel. And if you want to watch my previous videos, go ahead and click on this video up here or this video down here, where you get to see more exclusive content coming from my channel. Thank you guys for watching this video, and you guys have a blessed day.